Hello, NPBF coaches and fans. Alex back again with what should be the final playoff coach interview, assuming these go up in the order that they're recorded. Sneaking his way into the playoffs, maybe not sneaking completely into the playoffs, but certainly sneaking into his seed. I'm joined by Anthony of the Windy Cindy Boltstrikers. Say hi.
Hello, hello.
Certainly didn't expect to see you. Well, was hoping to see you in this capacity, but there were a lot of outside factors for sure.
Yeah, I 100% did not expect to get into playoffs this season. I was just trying to not go back into D League, but I'm excited I'm here. It's always a bonus to get into playoffs, even if I don't win.
Yeah, and just shockingly, I think for all of us that you were able to steal the second wild card seed.
When Eric won that match, I was pissed because I knew I had to win versus Steven, and I mean the first match was hard enough, but then like having to come in and do it again with coming up with different sets when my team didn't match up all that well anyways. But I'm glad that it happened. I made it work.
Oh, for sure. Hopefully the week 12 recap it has gone. No, it is up. So everyone, if you haven't seen it, go watch it so you can see that game because it is quite the game.
Yeah, go watch Sneasel carry me to the victory. Really.
I love that Sneasel carried you. It was really funny. But enough about the regular season. We're here to talk about playoffs. But before we do, you know, people are here to get to know you, and I'm sure they know you a bit from the recap you did, but they don't know you as a Pokemon player. They just know you as a guy who talks about Pokemon.
Yeah, that's true. It's fair. Yeah.
So before we really get into this season, I'm curious, like what a bit of what your competitive background is.
I really honestly don't have much competitive background. I think like this draft league was my first introduction into like draft league and competitive battling. I was here for season one all the
Oh
way back
wow.
when. I don't even know when that was. I can't remember. But it was like my first season battling, and I think I was the runner up for winner. And then
Wow. I didn't
I think
know
I
that.
played, yeah, and I played a couple more seasons, and I took a break because of I was just busy in life. But I've always loved Pokemon. I think like it's just such a fond memory of me and my older brother playing it when I was younger. So then when I discovered like you could play Pokemon competitively on your PC, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Um, and then it just yeah, and here we are now.
Right on. So NPBF was your first exposure to competitive?
Yeah, I mean, I remember like watching like the OG Poketubers like Nappy and Shady Penguin and all those other people in that group like play competitive.
Right.
I never understood how they did it because I I didn't have like a Game Shark on a DS to be able to come up with teams or anything. And then I figured out what Showdown was, and it just like blew my mind. So yeah, that was kind of like the first exposure.
Oh, right on. That I really like that actually. I think that makes it all the better. Makes for a better, more interesting story for you. But so interesting story aside, let's talk about the season. So you've spoken about having watched Shady and Nappy and that group do competitive, which means you definitely watched a lot of 6th gen, since that's when it was competitive Pokemon was definitely at its most popular during 6th gen. So, what did you think then of us in the year? Well, first it was 2021, now 2022, going back and doing 6th gen for season 15 here.
I loved it in the beginning. I love the idea in theory, but I definitely have a vendetta against this season in particular, just because of how my draft went, and just forgetting about all like the stupid stuff that Gen 6 had, and like, because I had such a good team drafted, and
You
then
did.
I don't remember who told me. I think it was you. You were like, "Yeah, Torn T doesn't get defog." They shouldn't. Like what? So I had to literally redraft pretty much the whole thing and start over. Definitely so salty about it. Definitely just want to get the season over with so we can go back to the new gens. But it's been good so far though.
So it definitely impacts my two sub questions, but I'm curious. So, like, obviously, like, defog not being super widespread was something you had to adjust to for 6th gen. Was there anything else that you had forgotten about because you're so used to playing 7th and 8th?
It's like yeah, because I never actually started playing competitive until like the newer generations. Like I never played
Okay.
consistently. Like Gen 6, I that was the first season I played when the league started, but that was it. And then I stopped playing after that. So but like the weird calcs and stuff like and the leftovers and like the abilities, like there's just people don't really understand how much actually did change when you get into it. But when you go back, like it really is a different feel for the way competitive is played.
100%. This, if anything, doing this season for me concurrently alongside some Gen 8 stuff has taught me that truly it's not that I remember 6th gen really well. It's just that the way I play Pokemon and have played Pokemon, I kind of just never left 6th gen. And if we look at my past seasons, a lot of things start to make a lot more sense.
Yeah, I never really had a lot of time to spend in this gen, so but I'm definitely glad I went back to it. It's definitely like a nostalgia hit, but I'm glad to not go back to it again. I'm glad to go go back to the newer stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure we're going back to Gen 8 in some capacity for season
Thank
16.
God. Very excited.
So, torn aside, what other sort of game plans had to change as you were adjusting for 6th gen?
So, like going into this draft, I have a very specific play style. I kind of border more on like the balanced to more kind of stall. And I think the team I initially drafted was that. But
Hmm.
then not having a defogger because defog wasn't super prevalent in a lot of the mons in 6th gen, I had to kind of switch it up and at that point a lot of stuff was already taken, so I think I definitely had to get used to a different, more offensive playstyle with my roster, which definitely a learning curve, which is I think one of the reasons why I performed poorly in the beginning of the season. Um, but I think I got used to it, and I think like the past couple weeks definitely have shown that.
For sure, and the additions you were making on your team and all the changes as we went certainly bolstered you up.
Yeah, I definitely had to make it work. Like just kind of very unconventional, putting mons in unconventional roles that they're not really meant to be. Just kind of had to work, which I wasn't used to, but I think I'm glad it happened because I now have more like experience with it, and it'll definitely help in the later seasons.
Oh yeah, the creativity and the willingness to expand is definitely going to help you out just going forward.
Yeah, I'm definitely bringing back especially defensive Rain Dance Starmie soon
That
if
was
I
such
can in
that's
the
such a
next
good
draft.
idea.
I'm definitely bringing it back.
It works. It works. You'd be surprised how many weird weather setting sets I got forced to practice against just because my opponent could do something, even if they
Yeah.
wouldn't do it. Uh, but so let's talk about your team. We don't have to go into the full nitty gritty of like who each specific member is. Let's just talk about the highs and the lows of them. Uh, especially since you drafted a lot of things and went through a bunch of transactions, it'll be interesting to hear. So, which of your team members, it could be multiple, we've kind of doesn't have to be exclusive to one, kind of did better than you were expecting in whatever role, multiple roles, things, whatever, just they exceeded your expectations of what you thought of them when you were going to pick when you were drafting them or picking them up.
Okay. So I picked up a Scavalier later in the season. I think it was like halfway through when I picked him up because I was noticing like I just really did not have enough, uh, especially defensive kind of walling types.
Hmm.
And I have a newfound appreciation for that mon, especially in Generation 6. Like this thing, it eats hits. It really does what it needs to do. And I think I've just utilized it so well that it just like is so hard to stop once the few ways to deal with it that my opponent has is gone. So definitely a Scavalier, and I think Sneasel as well. Sneasel is one of those underappreciated mons that like really gets overlooked, but like for a low tier pick, it actually does really well, or it can in a lot of situations, and I think I've definitely shown that off. Just like the stab knockoffs, even it doesn't have high base attack, but it still puts in work when it needs to. So I think those are
Uh,
definitely the two that have kind of stood out to me.
oh yeah, especially. I mean, we could go back to your other games and see it, but I mean, anyone who watches Week 12 and still is a Sneasel denier, I don't really know what else to say at that point.
Yeah, Sneasel carried it. I was on Sneasel's back the whole time that game.
Yeah, and I mean, Escavaler really has been an MVP for you for the back half of the season that you've had it. It's been so good. It was basically everything your team needed. It gave you that extra ice resistance that you to because that you sorely needed for a good chunk of the early season. Like you said, it gives you something that just takes special hits. I mean, you slap an AV on it too on top of all that, the thing just doesn't die.
Yeah, and that was also something like forgetting that hidden powers were back and how like toxic they were in this generation. Oh, it's just such a menace to deal with all these mons that can run hidden powers, especially with like hidden power ice and stuff, which definitely did hurt my team in the beginning. But yeah, with a scav on the team, it's definitely help patch up some holes.
Yeah, and it also made people have to start picking between ice and fire for their hidden powers against you.
Yeah, scav and Gligar just like really make the team. I mean, they are a great pair together.
They are, and I would have never thought of that until seeing your team. It's just so funny that you wound up being the Eviolite team and it worked.
Eviolite's my new favorite item after this gen.
Man, your picture probably should have had like an Eviolite right in the middle of Zekrom's forehead or something.
Yeah.
He's not going to use it, but you
It's
know,
just there. It's
it's
just
the
taunt.
mascot
Yeah,
item now, I think.
absolutely.
On the flip side of the mons you actually used, because famously you have not, or infamously you have not brought Tornadus out of spite for it not learning
Yep,
Defog, the
correct.
incarnate version. So we'll ignore that one because it disappointed you without having it hit the field. Uh, which of your which of your team members would you say underperformed? Just you had expectations and they just didn't meet it.
Now, I'm gonna say my mega, which is Zardax. And that might be weird, but I think it's underperformed just because I haven't utilized it to the fullest potential. And it's not because it's a bad mon or anything. It's just so unlike my playstyle to
Hmm.
have like to bring in the one mon to set up and sweep and like pressure with that. I usually like to play the long game better. So like having Zard to perform in that role, it just kind of throws me off when I'm prepping and when I'm actually playing the game. So I think for that reason, Zard has definitely underperformed, but it's definitely my fault. I definitely haven't used it to the fullest potential. I do blame Rennie for that also because he convinced me to get rid of Mega Scizor, which I'm still pissed about, and I will never take his advice again. But yeah, definitely Zard has
Yeah,
underperformed for me this season.
yeah. Scizor definitely fits that play style you have described, and I mean, if you look at our kill leaders, not that we have the full document when we do the recaps, but relative to what you might expect of Charizard X, it really hasn't performed the way you expect it to, but you usually do expect somebody who's going to play more offensively to use it.
He literally has 3 kills. I'm not even
I
joking
didn't
with you.
realize it was that low. I figured
I
it'd be like
I
five.
I brought it every game, and it's one of I think my lowest. The mon on my team with some of the lowest kills. It's really bad.
That's actually really funny. That's really, really funny.
But also, like on the flip side, it has worked for me because people over prep for it, and then
Guilty.
and then I just kind of like, well, you still won the game, but people over prep for it, and then because they tunnel vision on Zard, I kind of just come through with like these other sets that they didn't see coming, and that kind of also helps my advantage in the match. So, but like in that sense, it has worked for me.
Yeah. And I mean, yes, I won that match, but before the playoff seeds were finalized, I had started building teams for my potential round one opponents, which there was a moment in time where that could have been you, so I did start building again, and once again I was over prepping for Zardex.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a threat,
Yeah,
and you have to prep for it, but it causes people to tunnel vision, which I think is something that like people forget in draft league. Like sometimes drafting a mon that like people need to have on their mind when they prep for you is just as good as it coming and getting a bunch of kills.
yeah. Jason and I spoke in his interview on this exact subject, except it was about Ditto, and I mean, I think they're kind of the same thing in that regard.
Yeah.
If you're not careful, if you're not ready, that thing's gonna ruin you. Like,
Yeah,
there's a
like you
lot of
got to
teams that you just destroy if they let you get a free Dragon Dance off.
yeah, I mean you have to prep for Ditto when it's on a roster. But it could just not come and your prep could be out the window. So it's kind of like a toss up.
Yeah. Um, just out of curiosity, you mentioned having wanting to get or having Scizor initially, before Rennie talked you into dropping it, and then you grabbed Zardex. Besides that and Tornado's Therian, were there other like major changes that were made like early on or that had to change just because of that one mega shift?
I mean, yeah, like my whole cuz like my original plan for the drafting was to go more balanced defensive. I was going to get like I think my plan was Clefable, Mega Scizor and Gudra as my Fairy Seal Dragon, and then I was going to get um Tangrowth, Slow King as a regen core. It was gonna be really bad. Like
Oh
really just
man.
toxic, just like the worst type of person stall team. But I let him convince me to trade it to him for Megazard. So like kind of the whole playstyle had to change. Because at that point, like the other stuff that I wanted was already gone, and then the whole thing with not having a hazard removal. So I had to pick up Starmie, and then I had to drop a Gastrodon, and I had to just kind of patch up holes. I don't really like drafting like that, like on a whim. I like to have like my plan,
Hmm.
and it kind of really disrupted that. but like I said, we made it work, and we're still in playoffs, so
Oh, definitely. I
that's all
didn't
that
know your
matters.
draft was planned to be like that. I think everything we've been saying about Deshaun the whole season and Liam for the last chunk of the season, we would have been saying about you, but even more so.
Yeah, I was so prepared to be the most toxic person this season, but we'll save it for next time.
Yeah, yeah, and you'll have ample opportunity next time. Oh my. All right, so let's go forward. Week 12 is officially over. I think this is the only recording that we did that has been done with week 12 being done. So now we actually know the playoff seeds. So you are playing Steve in round one again for the
Third
third
time's a
time.
charm. Yep.
Uh, I'm not looking forward to that one, are you?
I don't know. It's not that I'm not looking forward to it. It's just kind of like it's just kind of so arduous to have to battle somebody 3 times in a row. But I mean, I'm 2-0 against him, so it's on the up and up for me, right? Like I know his play style. I got him on the 6-0 last match. So I don't really think that the playoff game is going to be any different. Um, I think it's gonna be. I honestly think it's gonna be pretty easy for me. I'm not really super worried. I just got to make sure my sets are all good, but I'm not super worried about it.
Well, that's good. But ignoring the matchup with Steven and what the brackets look like, let's say you make it to finals and you get to face anybody who qualified for playoffs of your choosing out of the two of us, Deshaun, Steven, Liam, Rennie, Jeff, and Jason. Who would you want to be facing in finals?
Um, of course, Rennie, because here's the thing. I know I'm better than him, and I just want to put him in his place. And I hope that this is the season I can do it.
Well, fortunately, you and Rennie are in different brackets, so if you were to meet in at all in playoffs, it could only be in the finals.
I also helped him. Helped him prep through the season, so I kind of know his team like the back of my hand. So I got some stuff planned if we do meet in the finals.
Oh, that would be. I mean, that would be quite a game. It'd be a long game, but that
It
would
would
be one I
definitely
would
be a
want
good
to
one.
see. I would want to see it though. Uh, Now, on the flip side of that, who would you be dreading to fight? It can be in your bracket or not in your bracket.
Um, Honestly, I don't want to fight Deshaun again, just because I just hate prepping for that team. He does have a really good draft this season, um, and he has the type of draft that I would draft. And I know the battle would just be so long and drawn out. Deshaun's also a really good battler, so it's just be like I don't know, like prepping for his team would be kind of difficult. My roster doesn't really match up super well. I know I could probably pull it off, but it's just like I don't want to do that over like 100 turns. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
just
you
too
pulled
much.
off the win before in week 4,
I did pull the win off.
so it's not impossible that you could take another game off of him, but it would probably be a lot more difficult this time.
100%. Yeah.
Uh, he would likely be who you might be facing off in semifinals, depending.
True. It could be him. Yeah. I mean, Deshaun does a really good job at kind of adapting after he's played somebody, so I know he would have. It would definitely be a lot harder for me the second time around.
Yeah, yeah, it probably would be. I mean, him or Jason. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you feel about Megalopunny, but
Okay, well, again, still spiteful about my game with Jason. Okay, so the 14 flinches in a row, whatever it was. Um, I'm not worried about. I didn't get to show off my sets, so
that's
I can
true.
literally I can bring the same team and be absolutely fine as long as he doesn't win due to RNG.
Well, on the one hand, well, actually, I guess you're just gonna be rooting for Jason then, because it means you don't have to fight Deshaun, and it means you don't have to stress and build for your semis game.
It's true, yeah. I mean, I've already got like a plan figured out for everybody if I end up facing him, so I'm not super worried. I love to pre-plan. That's kind of like my thing. I hate going into things with a blind eye, just kind of on a whim. So I've got some stuff planned for everybody.
Well, it sounds like you're ready for finals. You're certainly. I don't know. I don't want us to say. I don't know if it's fair to say you're more ready for playoffs than you were when you were in D League or the season here before that when you got bumped to D League. But it definitely sounds like you're ready.
D League was definitely a change of pace. It was a good kind of fun just to kind of bring back the fun and competitive battling that I kind of missed out on during the last season I played in main league. So yeah, I definitely have a new perspective, and it's definitely helped me through this season. Definitely gonna help me through playoffs.
Uh, well, before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts before finally move forward to playoffs? It can be about playoffs. It can be about the other coaches. It can be about your draft. It can be about the game. It can be about anything you want it to be. It can be as many things as you want it to be.
Well, that's a really big question, Alex. I don't. Okay, best three coaches in the league right now: Rennie, um, Liam, and me, 100%. Um, I'm not gonna. Worst three coaches, Gav in all three slots. He belongs to D League. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's it.
Well, it's certainly hard to argue a lot of those. I mean, Rennie and Liam definitely came from I want to say the closest division, but actually your division was the closest. Was the closest, even though their division has three. No, their division has three people in playoffs, so their division might have been the toughest. But
Yeah, their
yours was
division
the
was definitely the
closest.
toughest.
But yours
Yeah.
was the closest. Yeah, yours was
Really?
the
I thought it was theirs.
um. Well, considering that uh up until week 12, you and Jeff and Shawnee all had the same record.
True. Yeah, we did all have the same record.
And actually, your division has three people going into playoffs as well.
Oh wow, look at that.
Yeah, mine and Deshawn's are the only ones that have one person.
Oh, so you guys had the easiest divisions, what you're saying?
Kind of. I mean, I had the division where somebody dropped out midseason, and then
That's
Deshawn
fair, yeah.
had, not to knock anyone in his division, even though you did put rate Gav as the bottom three. Deshawn did have the division where the most coaches were fighting to not be in D League.
Yeah, so we'll just say you and Deshaun got in based on luck. We'll just go with that.
I mean, maybe divisionally, but my non-divisional matchups were I had I think Rennie was the only not like top coach I wasn't matched up against.
That's actually true. I remember the days of me and you prepping for these games, and you were definitely having a hard time with them.
Yeah, I mean preseason when we announced the schedule before the draft, I was literally just like, I'm not even trying to get into playoffs now. I'm just trying to not go to D League. What the fuck is my schedule?
Literally what I thought in the beginning of the season. Just don't go to D League. That's all that matters.
Yeah, yeah, it would suck for you to have, shown up in D League, done as well as you did, come back up, and then go right back.
It would have been my 13th reason, I swear to God.
Oh
I would have been done, called it quits. No more competitive Pokemon for me.
man. Oh man. Well, unless you have any other final thoughts, that's all the questions I have for you today.
I don't think so. I'm just excited to get out of Gen 6 and
I
maybe
think you and
hopefully
a lot of people are.
hopefully Ubers come back. I think the admins we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do, but I love Uber. I
Oh,
love
I
having
thought you
Ubers
were
in
the one that was
drafts.
like, if we have Ubers again, I'll kill myself.
No, I said if we have doubles. I refuse to
I
do
know
another doubles
doubles.
with
I
me.
thought you said like weeks or months ago, you said Uber, if we don't have Ubers, I'll kill myself.
Oh yeah, because I want Ubers. I love having Ubers in draft. I think it kind of spices things up in such a nice way. It's just like I think it's almost better than megas, to be honest. Honestly, I love having Ubers in draft.
Well, hopefully we'll come to a decision soon. I just know for a fact that besides doubles, I also don't want Dynamax to come back.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, that's no. We're never having Dynamax again. I hope I can convince Jeff to get Z moves back because that was also fun when we started doing Z moves.
I hated that shit.
I, I love it so much. I think it adds for so much content
It
and just like
depends. It
hilarious
depends.
games.
It depends because the one season I did here with Z moves was when we were just drafting the crystals themselves.
Yeah, that's definitely not the optimal way to do it. I
Yeah,
think like drafting the Z captain is definitely the better
yeah.
way.
Because like I don't remember what you had that season, but I was prioritizing my team over the actual crystal, so I got stuck with water. So the only time I used it was if I was going to use Z Rain Dance Manaphy.
What? I think I don't remember what I had. I feel like I had Tapu Koko and Electrium Z. I'm almost positive.
Oh, I think you did. I think
And I
you
had like
did.
Heatran. I had a stacked
You didn't
team.
have Heatran. I know
Did
you
I
didn't have
not?
Heatran. Well, not the season I'm thinking of. I know you didn't have Heatran.
I'm pretty sure I had Tapu Koko though, and that
You
team was
had,
stacked. That
yeah,
was a
you
good
definitely had
team.
a Tapu. Uh, and you had some other things. I don't remember if I'm mixing up seasons just because the nicknames. Oh, that's another thing to know about Anthony. With the exception of maybe this season, his nicknames are always ridiculous and killer.
Oh, yeah, I didn't spend the time to do it this season just because I was upset with my draft. It's like a spite thing. But my nicknames are usually really good. The last season I played, oh my god, they were so good.
Yeah, the mono names were crazy. I remember the mono names. I remember your Mega Diancie name was crazy.
Oh, it was Zaf and Dramenia, and
Yeah.
it was the tribe who discovered rose quartz in the Mediterranean. I mean, I'm a genius. Is all I
Oh,
can
yeah,
say.
you are. Holy shit. That's actually incredible.
I really did research for that. I don't know why, but I love nicknames. I love coming up. I love like researching and doing that.
Oh my God. Well, if nothing else, the I'm sure the viewers will be looking forward to seeing what names you come up with for next season.
Next season will definitely be good. I will definitely put in the time to do nicknames next season.
Well, with all of that said, I think we have nothing else to leave the people with but their own excitement for the round one of playoffs. That should be hopefully coming to the channel sometime next week. Well,
So everyone subscribe. Look forward to it. Put in your bets for who's gonna win. I already have mine in, so
yeah,
we're
and it
gonna.
could be anybody. So no one's a bad pick necessarily.
There's definitely some bad picks,
There's
but that's
some that are
fine.
better than others.
So there's bad picks.
We play a game of RNG.
That's true. Yeah, this is the game we choose to play. It's fair enough.
So yeah, assuming everything came up as long as as they were recorded, this should be the final interview. So any future playoff content we have will be the games. And fingers crossed, if I get my way, we'll be able to do the finals live with as many of the commissioners commentating it as possible.
Be good. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, I still haven't told the other coaches that though, so
No,
hopefully,
we're gonna hide that one. We're gonna
yeah,
save that to the finals.
yeah, hopefully they are kind and plan around it. Luckily, I think just under half of the people in finals are commissioners. So, so there's a decent odds of a commissioner making it all
Rigged.
the way. Rigged or we're just better.
Rigged and or we're the best.
Yeah.
Both. Both.
Well, all that being said, again, as Anthony has told you, subscribe, be excited for playoffs, place your bets. Again, you can bet on me, Anthony, Deshaun, Rennie, Jeff, Jason, and Steven. Pick whoever you like best. Pick whoever's interview you like best, actually. Who vibed with you the best. Do that. That's how you place your bets.
That one, yeah. I like that.
Uh, so until next week, next time, depends when this video goes live. Uh, we'll see you soon for playoffs.